Hi all, I have an absolutely amazing attacking game to show you today. This is a game played on chessworld.net and it was featured in one of the collections. Blackcrowman, who has been a regular forum contributor and is a very strong over the board player up north of England. So he's playing black against Hazilla in this game. It was d4 in the opening, e6. So this has been a recommendation of Mikhail Botvinnik. He's often played this, inviting white to choose between c4 or e4, being prepared to play a French defence, of course. Now Blackcrowman is a good French defence player, so he doesn't mind e4. White played c4, and now we have the classical Dutch. Well, so far it will head into the classical actually. Knight f6 after bishop g2. We have bishop e7. Knight f3, black castles, white castles, and now d6. So not committing to a stone wall formation. This is more flexible, d6. However, one downside here, compared to the stone wall, this bishop is not blunted. It's got a full view still on this diagonal. That's something to bear in mind. Knight c3, we have queen e8. So this is a typical aggressive queen move, which we've actually seen an attempt in the previous chess world game we saw yesterday with, in reverse, queen e1, which was a disaster because it could have been taken. But no, the queen's safe here to go to h5. It's a very desirable attacking mechanism in general. b3, a5. Basically, the principle of getting your best attacking piece near the opponent's king is one of the big reasons for playing this Dutch classical. Bishop b2, queen h5, e3, and now with e3, white is preparing defensive resources revolving around the queen on h5 here. We have knight a6, a3, and now this looks a little bit dodgy. Bishop d7, isn't there a weakness of the last move here? And also, because white has played e3, can b7 and h5 be combined to be exploited with one clever, ingenious move? White plays knight d2. Isn't this a whoops situation? Because hold on a sec. If black wants the queens on, because it looks as though knight g4, there's h3, that's nasty. If black wants the queens on, doesn't b7 drop? Well, guess what black plays in this position if I give you 5 seconds to pause the video. Okay, queen h6, offering b7. Now white took on b7. There has been a game instead in ChessBase Lightbook, 2310. Kagan was playing against another Kagan, believe it or not, Kagan N against Kagan I in the Melbourne tournament of 1992. Maybe they were brothers. Rook e1 was played and white ended up winning that. But here, yeah, bishop takes b7 was played. So very interesting. Now the idea is revealed. Knight g4, threatening checkmate. You see, there's an idea of shifting the queen near to the opponent's king to checkmate on h2 here. White plays h4. And it still looks a little bit unfortunate. Maybe if black wants to do something about this, maybe rook a7 could be considered. But then white's surely getting a nice advantage here, and maybe even can drop back to f3 if nothing else, hitting g4. However, black plays g5, offers the rook, bishop takes, and now, without wasting time even recapturing, g takes h4. Is this a brilliancy? We have g takes h4, queen takes h4, knight f3. Isn't white defending with tempo the sensitive h2 square? We have queen h3. So this actually prevents the king moving to the center, like king f1 to e2 might be desirable if the queen had gone anywhere else. So the queen's cut off the king's escape route. And white gets in this position quite desperate actually, because if black's given a couple of moves, then for example king f7 to avoid this diagonal, as a safety concern, and rook g8 seems pretty terminal. A desperate move from white already. Knight d5 is played. Let's have a look at this position. If bishop b7, rook f6 can swing actually. That's another way of swinging the rook into g6 as well. Doesn't matter about the material on the queen side. And rook h6 here is actually crushing, in fact, as well. We're just mating on h1. That's a quick route to checkmate here. On knight e2, this is looking like a test because of knight f4, but there's actually bishop g5 here to stop knight f4 to be able to snap it off. And here, if bishop b7, rook f6 again, and the rook's just swinging in. This is very dangerous after knight takes e3, hitting the queen and threatening mate on g2. This scenario is devastating for white. This is a really crushing attack scenario. White's basically losing a lot of material. So yeah, there's very, very dangerous attacking potential here after knight e2. If we look at this attempt with knight f4 to evict that queen, bishop g5. Instead of bishop b7, if we look at rook e1 here, black could actually casually take on a8. And on knight g3, bishop takes e3 is dangerous. For example, this is threatening the queen and mate. And if takes on here, queen takes, bishop c6, black has a big advantage here. This is a very, very nice position. And you'll note that there's another diagonal which can creep open here, which is sometimes this one, bishop b5 check, crossfire of queen and bishop there. So very, very desperate situation, desperate looking move, knight d5. It's taken, bishop takes, king goes to h8. That is one of benefit, that the king can't stay around on f7 now, clearly, and goes on to this potentially dangerous diagonal. Queen e2, but now a super ingenious move, again, from Blackcrowman. So the bishop is also stopping rook g8. Guess what black plays in this position if I give you 5 seconds to pause the video. Okay, bishop c6. Fantastic move to try and deflect the bishop away from g8. It's really quite crushing now, this scenario. Yeah, if black plays rook g8, then that will be a bad slip up, taking, it'll just be all over actually. This is just absolutely fantastic for white. So it's important to not blunder here. Bishop c6 is fantastic. Now, desperate looking bishop f7 is played. If bishop takes c6, rook g8. And if bishop d5, knight takes e3 check, which is terminal after queen g2 checkmate there. So bishop f7 was played. But bishop takes f3 now, of course, threatening the queen and mate. We have d5 check, but that's parried with bishop f6. Bishop takes check, knight takes, and white resigned here. A really crushing win from Blackcrowman, who, by the way, was the one that actually also influenced me to start playing the tango with black. So we've had some theoretical discussions, and this idea of sacking b7 was actually in a Dutch defense book. So in correspondence style chess, you can, research with your opening books to find great traps. And this is a fantastic trap, and it was played actually against an opponent at the time of this game who was more than 200 rating points higher on the site. So congratulations there to Blackcrowman, and a very, very instructive Dutch classical attacking game for us all. So there are some real treasures on the collections page of Chess World, which you might want to check out on the community menu. If you check out the collections options, check out Blackcrowman, for example. He's really putting in a lot of research into these games. Okay, comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.